There's only two things you need to get to 100K. You got to make good promises to people. So your promise or your offer. You got to get good at making a promise or an offer to somebody. And you got to get good at leading conversations so that you can make a promise or an offer. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
only, to get to 100K in your business, those are the only two things you need.
Yep.
Those are the two most important things. Anything else is either a distraction or maybe a nice to have, but those are the two things that will absolutely get you there.
And it's even like
So,
as you talk to people about what you do, you want to make sure that you're not positioning it as a nice to have.
right.
Think about your own self for just a moment, in your own life. What leads you to buy things? What would be some examples of what leads you to buy things?
Well, I think oftentimes for me, it's a problem that needs solving. Like the other day, one of our the siding on our one of the siding pieces on our house was like half off. Well, that's a problem that if it's raining and it's windy and water gets in there, that's not good. So I need to solve that now, right?
Hmm.
So I think a lot of times it's being aware of a new problem that has to get fixed or there's consequences.
Hmm. I definitely think it's problem or pain, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm thinking about, um like, oh, it would be nice to have a new, I'm trying to think of something that's comparable financially in terms of cost, and I'm striking out. If I think to myself,
You mean like true coaching?
no, I mean, I was just trying to think to myself, like, if I'm in back pain, let's say, as an example, I am very likely to go online and immediately order something to alleviate my back pain,
Yeah.
right? But if I'm just thinking, you know what, it'd be nice to have a new shirt, that's not something I'm taking immediate action on. Like, oh, it'll
Right.
happen
Or
when it
a lot of
happens.
times for a higher ticket thing, a lot of times I could see that as being like a sauna or a hot tub, right? You're like, that would be nice, but am I buying it right now?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. So, but people, when they are in pain, they are willing to take an immediate action. And we need to become skilled at articulating and showing them that we understand their pain on a level that's different from other people.
Hmm. And that's why when you think of what does it take to get to 100K, it's promises and conversations. That's part of a great conversation is helping people understand the stakes that they're playing for. What are the consequences? What are the stakes that we're talking about? Because
Mm-hmm.
most people don't. They're not really looking at the stakes. Most people, when they have a problem, they downplay the stakes of the problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you talk to most people about their marriage, and let's say they're having some conflict, they'll be like, "Well, yeah, this sucks and this sucks," but they're gonna often downplay a little bit how bad it is. But if you ask them some questions about it, like they might be on the brink of divorce, they might be on the brink of separating, and now okay, that's a little bit different level of stakes,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
you know.
Well, and I think historically, we become accustomed to telling people the positives because we don't want to be a downer. We don't want to be negative. We don't want to, we don't want to be the person that's bringing down the conversation. But there's always pain lurking under the surface. And the more that you get into conversation with someone, the more that that starts to come out. So people will lead with the positives. They will lead with, oh, but this is working. And our brain does that because it wants to protect us. So
Yeah.
it's easy for us to get into a position where we just let people off the hook. But if a person is engaged in a conversation with you, they likely have a problem.
Yeah.
And they're hoping that you're going to uncover it.
Yeah. And there's really two ways in these conversations where people kind of keep themselves stuck in the problem. One is they downplay the problem, the stakes of the problem, right? Like, oh, I'm a few pounds overweight, but they have diabetes, they're on pills, like maybe the state. So a lot of times people will downplay the problem. The other way that our brain will do it is they'll make the problem seem so big in their mind that there's no solution, so they don't have to do any. Both answers are there's nothing you need to do about it, right? So if you downplay the problem, there's nothing you really need to do about it right now. And if you make the problem so big and you so weak to solve it, there's also nothing you need to do, right? So we want to take people away from those two extremes.
Definitely. I think that's a really good way to phrase it.
Because you'll talk to other people. Like I said in that marriage example, let's say someone might be downplaying it when they're on the brink of divorce. Another person might say that their marriage has so many problems, there's nothing you can do to fix it. There's no point in even trying because they've tried everything the last 5 years. But then when you talk to them and you realize they haven't really tried much at all, they haven't tried everything, they've tried one thing over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do you have more to say about that, Ash?
No, I think ultimately the biggest place that people get hung up is that they aren't creating a consistent routine or pushing themselves out of their comfort zone to connect with people.
Yep. So today we've set up something that's going to help you with that. We call it the 100K dashboard. And it's just these are things that when you look at and you track, these are the only things you really need to be doing to get to 100K. And when you look at these things, it's like a dashboard in your car or on your laptop. It tells you how you're doing and where maybe the bottlenecks are. But the main thing this does, it is about tracking, but it's not really, because the main thing this does is it's going to help you confront your fears about these things. Because the only thing holding people back is not how to, it's their fears. Most people are good, but most people think it's how to, right? Most people think, well, I don't know how to make an offer. I don't know how to start a conversation with a stranger. I don't know how to diagnose someone's problem, right? But the reality of it is you already know how to do it, but our fears are holding us back. Now, I'm not saying you know how to do it at the highest level, but when you're getting started, you're not going to be able to do it at the highest level. So, for example, to make an offer to somebody, you already know how to do that, right? You say, hey, I see you have this problem. I want to help you with this problem. It's this amount of money. That's a basic offer. That's how you do it. Now, that's not the highest level of making an offer, but before you're at 100K, the highest level of making an offer is not anything in your mind. Who cares about it? So the 100K dashboard is how you are going to confront these fears, doubts, and insecurities we all have about making offers and having these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing we track are your wins. Ashley talked about what are your wins for the week? Because we we want to get in the habit of seeing how far we've come. So what are your wins? The second thing you're going to look at is how many people did you connect with this week? Just how many conversations did you start? How many people did you connect with? It could be offline, could be online. So this would be the one where Ashley and I are saying you got to do 4 people a week, right?
Yep.
The next thing we're going to track is how many people did you diagnose a problem with this week? So we're not just only having casual conversations with everybody. We want to start getting into people's problems and finding out what problems they have and if they have a problem I can solve. The next one is how many no's did you collect this week? This is a big one. Most of us are deathly afraid of getting no's from people. So we kind of want to make it a little game. We want to know how many no's are we collecting. The next one is how many offers did you make this week? Paid offers. So maybe you made 3 paid offers this week. So you'd write 3 down for that. Now that's the only number that really matters to getting to 100K, right? How many paid offers did you make this week? The next one is what was the dollar amount you made in offers this week? So the previous one was how many offers did you make? Maybe it's 3. This one is what was the dollar amount you made in offers this week? So if you made 3 offers at $3,000 each, you made $9,000 in offers this week. Now the reason that's important, that's important for your cash flow because you just kind of want to take a guesstimate that you'll probably collect about 30 to 40% of the amount of offers you make. So if you made $9,000 in offers last week, you're probably going to get about 3 to 4,000. And then the last one on the dashboard is how much money did you collect? So what did you actually get in? So those are the things you want to look at. What are your wins? How many on your dashboard? What are your wins? How many people did you connect with? How many people did you diagnose a problem for? How many no's did you collect? How many paid offers did you make? What was the dollar amount of those paid offers? And how much money did you collect? And if you know what those numbers are, you can diagnose any issue you're having in your 100K business. So let's say you connected with 10 people last week, but only one of those people did you diagnose a problem for. We know the issue right there is that, okay, we got to work on getting to the diagnosis. We can't just have casual conversations. Let's say you made 3 offers last week and you collected 0 money. That's telling us a little bit about that either the offers may be off or who you're talking to is off.
Mm-hmm.
let's
I
say
think
you
that,
want to make,
sorry, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, go
No,
ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I was going to say, let's say your goal is to make $3,000 a week in your business, and last week you made $3,000 in offers. You know that's a problem because you're only going to collect about 30 to 40% of the offers you make. So if you want to get to 3,000 a week in money collected, you got to be making like around 9,000 in offers. That's pure math.
And I think it's really helpful to understand that because
Yeah.
also, if you're making offers and they're not converting, then we know that we can focus on a conversion problem,
Yep.
not how many people you're communicating with or who you're reaching out to.
100%.
I think the one thing that I kind of want to insert here is that the biggest regret that people have in their business is once they start really connecting with people and making offers, they wish they would have started it sooner. It's scary in theory, but once you start leaning in and actually doing the work, things go much more quickly and much easier than you expected. And it's really important to push yourself to not be the person who has that regret. The businesses that are the most successful are the businesses where people don't overthink and they're just taking action. Sometimes recklessly, to be honest, and we don't want to do that. But we do want to push ourselves to be taking consistent action. We want to push ourselves out of our comfort zone and force ourselves to be willing to collect those no's, to be willing to diagnose the
Yeah.
problem and not just try to play it safe.
And by consistent action actually means only on these things. If you're taking consistent action in building your website, that doesn't mean shit,
No, it's
right?
easy to get caught up in those things that seem sexy. It's like, oh, I need brand, and I hear this all the time. I need branding. I need a website. I need X, Y, and Z. I need a sales funnel. I need this, that, and the other. And the reality of it is that you don't need any of that. You need to be willing to have a conversation with someone where you're connecting with them on a deep level. That's what leads to conversions.
And now the very seductive, tempting thing is when you see one of these things and you're like, well, okay, I didn't make any offers last week. Or I didn't collect any no's last week. The tempting thing is to be like, that's because I don't know how to do it. I need to go
Mhm.
out into the world and learn how to have a conversation, learn how to make an offer, learn how to start a conversation with someone on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever. So your brain is going to tell you, well, you didn't make offers because you don't know how.
Mhm. That's such a
Reality,
good point.
we need to call BS on that.
Big
This is
time
what Asher and
BS.
I are here for. And we need to say that no, the reason you didn't make offers is not because you don't know how. It's because of survival rate. It's because of your fears.
Hmm.
You know how to do it. You know how to do it. And here's how you know this. My son, since he could talk, has known how to make an offer. Right? Kids, when you are born and you can start talking, you're constantly making offers. This is why kids can actually be good at sales because they have no fears in the beginning. They're just like, can I do this? I'd like this. Can I do this? I'll do this if you do that. They're just making simple offers all the time. I mean, the simplest offer is, I'm going to cry until you give me what I want, right? Um, so we know how to make offers, not at a high level, right? But if you're not at 100K yet, we're not worried about that, right? Um, so you know how to do these things. You know how to talk to people already. You've been talking for however long you've been alive, minus a year or two, right? So you know how to talk to people. You know how to get a no. You know how to start a conversation. You know how to make an offer. So only thing holding us back is our fears. And the dashboard is something that kind of forces us to confront our fears, because you can only hide so long when you're looking at, oh, I didn't make an offer this week. Ooh, I didn't collect any no's.
And we could go throughout the course of our business not doing these things, and we would hide under education and learning and branding and websites and all the things that we just talked about. But then we wouldn't get to do the number one thing that we're here to do. We didn't step into this coaching business to not help people. And that is something that fuels me even when I'm feeling unsure or insecure about my ability to help someone. I always come back to the place of like, I got into this because I have a special talent. I know that I can help people. And right now, I'm not living it out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then that actually creates guilt for me. It makes me feel like I'm not doing what I was meant to do.
Yeah. And these things, like if you're a coach, consultant, you help people make a change and you do it conversationally, which is what we all do. These are natural, these are just coaching, but to a prospect and not your client,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? Like diagnosing a problem is what you do in coaching, right? Yeah, if someone comes to you and they say, I have this problem, you're not just going to be like, well, here are 3 steps to solve this. No, you're going to dive in, diagnose the problem, see how it's really impacting them, see what they've really tried, see what's really keeping them stuck, and then you're going to give them solutions potentially, right? That's coaching. So this is just an extension of coaching, but to a prospect.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at each one and know exactly what you need to do better this week. So this is where if you see something and it didn't go well last week, if you made 0 offers, if you made $0 in the amount of offers, if you didn't get any no's, if you didn't diagnose any problems, okay, now we know. But don't be compassionate for yourself. But now what are you going to do differently this week? And this will show you exactly what to do differently, right? If you didn't have anyone to talk to, you didn't make any offers, you don't really have anyone you think you could make an offer to, okay, I got to connect to more people this week. If you're connecting with a lot of people, they're casual conversations, but they're not going anywhere, okay, I need to diagnose more problems this week. If you're diagnosing problems, you're connecting with people, you have people to talk to, but you're not making any money, you're not getting new clients, okay, let's make more offers to people. Maybe we have to make it sooner. Maybe we have to ask a different question. Maybe we're being afraid of the no. So I got to lean into getting a no.
Hey, Michael, I have to jump off,
Awesome.
but I can't wait to hear
Well,
what everybody does in terms of the month of June, talking to strangers. This is going to be the number one way that you're going to start building your business towards that 100K. So I'll see you later. Bye.
so you wanna, and the other way to think about this is the simplest, easiest way to have your business. Once you get used to conversationally making an offer, getting a no, sometimes connecting with people, it's the simplest thing you can do. You don't need a long funnel. You don't need internet marketing. You really don't need content if you don't want to. Um, but even if you're putting out content, let's say you're putting out content, which I'm not against at all. Um, but even if you're putting out content, people are going to connect with you, let's say, through your content. And then guess what needs to happen? You're going to have a conversation with them um, for them to become a client or not. So, still, you're going to be doing this. It's just a matter of how did you start the conversation. So I'm going to send you these numbers, this dashboard, and you could track it wherever it feels best to you. It could be in a notepad physically. It could be like I do it in a Google sheet. Could be an Excel spreadsheet. Could be in something else. Whatever works for you. But if you can just commit to using this dashboard, it's going to prevent a lot of self sabotage, a lot of things where your fears, doubts, and insecurities could show up and get in the way. It's going to prevent that and also help diagnose what to be doing. So when Ashley and I are working with you, and let's say your goal is to make $3,000 a week. And let's say last week you made 500. The first thing I'm going to say to you to diagnose is, well, how many offers did you make? I made one offer. Okay. What was the dollar amount of the offer you made? Oh, 500. So you made one $500 offer and you collected $500. Okay. Kind of obvious to see why you made $500 last week, right? So we know we got to up how many offers we made last week if we're trying to get to 3,000. Then it's about thinking, okay, if you need to up your offers, how many people did you get that are telling you about their problems? Probably not enough. And then I might say, okay, why aren't we diagnosing? Why aren't we getting to the diagnosing of problems? Typically, here's where you're going to see fears come out, right? Well, I wasn't sure if I could do it this early because I was talking to this person and like it didn't feel comfortable to kind of like go into the asking them about the problem or if they even had one. So that's where we're going to see things coming up. So for a lot of you, you're going to see fears, doubts, and insecurities are getting in the way of either connecting with new people, connecting with people you already know, diagnosing a problem. So a lot of people hold back on asking a question about what someone's going through or what they're struggling with or what the challenge is right now, what challenge they're having, because that feels very hard to do emotionally. So a lot of people struggle with either connecting with new people because I've heard a lot of people say, well, it feels weird. Like I'm on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, and I don't even know this person. And I'm just sending them a friend request and starting a conversation with them. That feels very weird, right? So that fear might be getting you, or the fear of, well, I am able to start conversations with people, but then I don't know how to transition it to where they're telling me about their problems. And again, that's not how to. That's just a fear of leading the conversation in that direction. It's a fear of you leading the conversation in that direction and someone saying, "Why are you asking that?" You know that happens to me pretty much every week, right? Where I'm talking to someone and I'm like, "So what are you struggling with in your business right now? What are you struggling with? So what's the biggest challenge you're having in your relationship?" And someone's like, "Why would you ask that?" People are going to sometimes push back and be like, "What? What? That's." I literally had someone maybe 2 days ago be like, "Well, that's a personal question." Okay, cool. We don't have to go there. That's fine. But I'm leading my conversations. So you're never not going to get some pushback from some people. So you want to get okay with getting some of that feedback. Or then the other area people often have fears around is making an offer, right? You might be good at starting conversations, at even listening to someone, get hearing about their problems, but then when it comes time to say, "Hey, I'd like to work with you. Here's what it would look like." That's one of the things I often say to people. Like a lot of times when I'm transitioning to an offer, I will say to someone, "I would love to work with you. I would really like to work with you. I'm confident I can help you in that. Would you like to hear what that might look like?" A lot of times I'll transition to an offer in that way, just like it's just an honest thing. Like, you know what? I would really like to work with you. I'd love to work with you. I'm confident I can help you with this thing we just talked about. You want to hear what that might look like? So, the other thing this is nice for is you kind of want to identify what are the parts that are easy for you to go to. Like for me, it's pretty easy to start naturally. When I was first doing these things, it was kind of easy to start conversations, but I had a really hard time getting into diagnosis of the problem and making the offer. Like I can have casual conversations with people all day, even strangers. It's very easy for me. But if I have to transition that to diagnosing a problem and then making an offer, that was hard. So I was able to identify, well, connecting with people, starting conversations, or reconnecting with people I know, it's kind of easy for me. I like doing that. But what would happen is I would kind of hide in those conversations. I would have casual conversations for a long period of time because I was afraid of going to the diagnosis of the problem or to an offer. So you want to see in here, where is it kind of easy for you to do something and where does it get a little bit of more uncomfortable? Because you'll see you'll tend to avoid the uncomfortable parts. So then our only thing is to let me lean into the uncomfortable parts till they become way more comfortable. So I'm going to send you guys the dashboard, and you can. My only recommendation is that you track it each week. Like what I do is I pick a day, the same day every week to track this, how I did in the last week, and just start tracking it. And then obviously we're going to work on the June challenge of talking to 4 people a week. So that'll be really in the connect part. Um, and we will go from there. If you guys have any questions, you can always go to school or to Slack. You can talk with us in either place, and we will go from there. Thank you.